सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य महानीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु भक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we were seeing the Indra Pratardana Samvaada, where Indra is teaching Pratardana. And here Indra first says, you know me, right? Mam vijanahi. Then that Mam means what? So he says, you know me as the Prana and Prajnatma, who is also Amritaha, Ajaraha, Ayuhu. All these words are being used to reveal the Swarupa, the Atma Swarupa, which is Shuddha Chaitanya. But the Atma Swarupa can only be revealed through some Lakshanas. The Lakshanas themselves are not really Atma Dharma or anything like that, we can say. They are only revealing words. Or you can say, you reveal the Upahita through the Upadhi. We say, whatever is conditioned is revealed through the conditioning factor, which is the Upadhi. In this case, Prana is a Upadhi, Prajna or the whatever awareness one has, that is also Upadhi. So these are the two main words used here. So in this, the Prana means Brahman. To show that only, it was shown that without Prana there cannot be any functioning of any of the Indriyas. And all these Indriyas, when they resolve in sleep also, they resolve into this one Prana alone. And when they function also, they are functioning because all these Pranas only are Anupashyanti, like that all we saw, correct? So along with the Prana being the supporting only, the Indriyas also can act. Without that it cannot act, or without that it doesn't have any Kriya Shakti, it doesn't have the power to function without the Prana being there. So the Prana as an Upadhi represents the Kriya Shakti, we say. And Prajnatma or Prajna, when we say, that represents the Jnana Shakti. So all the Indriyas require both, right? Without both Shakti being there, nothing really happens. Now, so for the Prana, we saw that sleep was shown, even death. Even during death, everything resolves into this Prana. Then the Prana, then like it leaves the body and goes somewhere else. And again, all these Indriyas, then they go to their respective places. Then for the Prajna also, then Indra says, correct? I will tell you, correct? Yata Prajnayam Sarvani Bhutani Eki Bhavanti Tad Vyakhyasya, like that he started. And then all the Indriyas were shown as an Anga of this Prajna only. The Indriyas also cannot function without the intelligence. And that intelligence, these Indriyas are all an Anga, are a part of that intelligence only, they have come from there. But not only the Indriya, the Indriya Arthas themselves are milked out, something like that was said metaphorically, and placed separately first. for the objective world to be there. The objective world is there. There is a subject. The subject is the you can say the particular sense organ or the organ of action, the agent. So there is an agent, there is an object of agent, correct? Even in grammar we have, correct? So in Sanskrita grammar we say that the Prathama Vibhakti is Karta, the Dvitiya Vibhakti is Karma. Karma is a technical word here, okay? In grammar, karma means the object of action is called karma. The agent of action is the karta. So here also there is a karta and a karma, correct? Both are there. So here, but they are all one only really, to show that it is said that from the Indriya only, the Indriya Vishaya is separated out and kept as the objective world. So that was shown initially in the fifth Vakya or mantra here. Then again in the sixth it was shown how that object is again coming back only to the Indriya, correct? Indriya only, even though we say it is separate, through the Indriya it comes back again to your cognition or it becomes evident to you. So that was also shown. So here, again here one word Bhuta Matra is there everywhere, correct? In the fifth one. Matra here means Miyate iti Matra. Okay, that is the Uspatti that you note down, because Miyate means that which is known through that Indriya, means that is the Indriya Vishaya or object. That is the derivation. Otherwise, Matra sometimes can have different meanings. Miyate means that which is known. Manam is knowledge, correct? Miyate iti Matraha. Similarly here, that all the Indriyas again get hold of this, their objects, correct? And that's how it makes it known to you. But even there, Prajnaya Vacham Samaruhya and all that we saw here, correct? Prajnaya Chakshus Samaruhya. So Samaruhya means basically that it is Tadatmya Sambandha we say. Okay? That the Prajna and the Indriya should be together and one. Then only it functions. So like that, all these things again are known with the combination of this Prajna and the Indriya, whatever Indriya it may be. Known or they become an object of action. Right? Either they become an object of knowledge or object of action when they are supported by this intelligence which is Prajna. Then the next one, seventh Vakya was what? It was also shown that without the Prajna supporting, nothing can really happen. It will not be known or registered. So you cannot say that the Indriya itself, by itself it can function or know something. Now for that, a very familiar experience which everybody has, correct? It is only giving a Laukika Drishtanta to make you understand that. So in the Loka, all of us are clear that if my mind or my awareness is not backing up the senses, then the senses will not register anything. They will not really function. Even if something is right in front of your eyes, you will say that my mind was not there and I did not see. Or even if something is blaring from a speaker, you will say I did not hear it. All these things are common experience. So that was also brought out by the Upanishad to show that without the Prajna being there, the Indriya itself cannot, even though the Indriya has the capability to go and you can say encompass its object, but even that sense object may come into contact with the Indriya, but still knowledge will not take place. For that the Prajna has to be there. So I think up to this we saw, correct? So these things were all shown to us. Okay. So in this mind also was included. That is an interesting thing. That means even whatever is there in the mind, for it to be known, the Sakshi Chaitanya has to be there. That is where in fact we go to a different level. At least for all other things, it is saying here it is saying my mind was not there, correct? Name manaha abhut ityaha. was there everywhere, correct? Name Manaha. So this is there up to the point where what even the organ of reproduction and all was talked about. Ananda, Rati, Prajatim. Okay? Then Nahi Prajnapeta Dhihi Kachana Siddhe. So here again you cannot say my mind is not there. Here we are only talking about the mind itself, correct? In the end. So it is saying if the prajna is not there even in your mind or intellect, then what? Kachana Siddhe na Siddhe. Nothing can be cognized. Na prajnatavyam prajnaya. It means whatever is to be known also you cannot know. Prajna has to be there. So from this what we understand is mind also is anatma. Because from all these things, one more thing we have to understand is there are these atmavadis are there, correct? Different things are atma. If you take modern scientists, they say body is the atma. Then we also had Charvakas who said that. And then there are other people who say that Indriya Atmavadis are there, Indriyas are the Atma. One part of Charvakas are like that. Okay? Or Manas and Buddhi are the Atma. Those are the Buddhists. There are Vijnanavadi Buddhists. For them, the Buddhi itself is the Atma, and that's why they say that it is Kshanika and all that. For them, the Vijnana is Kshanika because they take the Buddhi itself as the consciousness. Only the Vedantin separates even the Buddhi from the consciousness. In fact, that is the most difficult separation or Viveka. We say discriminatory knowledge, correct? You separate the Buddhi from the consciousness and you know yourself only as the consciousness. That thing is very difficult. Bhashakara says even in the Brihadaranyaka Bhasha that is why the Atma is also mostly identified with the Buddhi only, correct? Or even the individual conscious being, throughout in the Bhasha he calls it as Vijnanamaya. Vijnanamaya Atma means the Atma which is taken as the functioning intellect or whatever, correct? The awareness which is, but that awareness is coming and going kind of an awareness, correct? That's why we say you become unconscious, etc. That kind of an awareness itself is considered to be the Atma, but the Atma Buddhi from there to take out only or to see that as separate is one of the most difficult things that one has to do that. This Upanishad also is showing the same thing only. It is slowly taking you from one to the other and trying to show only the Shuddha Atma alone is, or Shuddha Chaitanyam alone is the Atma. So, after this what? Again it was shown that what? Now Vacham. Okay, now we have come to this point. Up to this we came. Now we have to see. So next is very interesting. So, should we see, already it was said that you do Upasana as Amrita, Ayuhu and all that. Now, all these Indriyas along with the Prajna only are knowing all these things you are saying. Now should we consider the Indriyas which are conscious itself as the ones or as the pranas and then do Upasana on them, or is there something separate from them also? Because in general what we are saying is, if two things are always together, then one is the self of the other. Okay, like you cannot see the cloth without seeing the yarn, correct? Yarn and cloth are always together. But the Naiyayikas are very funny. They say that there is a separate entity called cloth, there is a separate entity called yarn, like that they argue. The Vedantin doesn't accept. Vedantin says there is a Tadatmya Sambandha. Tadatmya means what? Cloth is nothing but yarn, correct? Really speaking, you can say Atma. Atma means it is the same or it is the self of the other thing. There is no cloth without yarn being there. Or you can even extend it to other things like erroneous cognition, correct? Snake and rope means you cannot see the snake without at least cognizing the existence of the rope. If you don't cognize anything also, there cannot be any adhyasa. There is no possibility of seeing the snake also. You have to see this, and then on this you can do some some aropa, some superimposition, and you are projecting and you are she. Like that here also, what the Upanishad is saying, without the object is not there without the subject. In this case, if we take the subject as the indriya supported by the consciousness, and subject, that means the objects is having tadatmya with the subject, we can say. Okay, because always the object is known only through the indriya. They are together. You can never have an object separate from the indriya. Through the indriya only, the existence of the very object is always known. They are always together. Means there is a tadatmya, we can say. Similarly, the indriya also functions only when the prajna is there. So there is a tadatmya of the indriya with the prajna. Like this, that is what it is shown here. But so in this there can still be a doubt whether we should take the indriyas which are backed, or whether really this prajna and indriya are same or not. Correct? So that is why now Upanishad is saying, like Ramana Maharishi used to say this all the time. So we will see this, very interesting. It says, Na vacham vijijñāsīta vaktāram vidyāt. So what it is saying, don't think that this indriya itself is Brahman, or Brahman is this indriya. We have don't know Brahman as this indriya or prajna as this indriya. Because as I told already, the other way around is always true. B is A, but A is not B. This thing we have to be clear throughout. So in this case, cloth is yarn, but yarn is not cloth. Or snake is rope, but rope is not snake. That kind of a thing, that satyam mithya, that clarity we have to have everywhere. So what we are saying is what Brahman is not this vacham alone, or you don't know the indriya itself as this prajnatma, but the vaktaram means the one who is speaking through the indriya, correct? For whom the indriya is a karana, the karta, because indriya is only a karana. So the Upanishad is showing the indriya as a karana, and now separating out the karta from that. The karta is the upadhi for Brahman. Okay, so vaktaram vidya. Now this is very similar to how, because anybody who goes to Ramana and says, I have this problem, that problem, or what will he say? Normally he used to say, find out who has that problem. Correct? If you say what, my mind is wandering, means find out who is saying that. So if you say I am suffering, find out who is saying that. So that was his way of reorienting you, because otherwise the natural orientation is what even Kathopanishad says, Paranchikhani vyatrinat swayambhuhu parang pashyati nantaratmam. Kaschit dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshate avrita chakshur amritatva vichan, like that. This Kathopanishad is there. So the natural tendency, it says in fact, Swayambhu, Ishvara has created in this creation and made all the jivas focusing on the objective world only, correct? In fact, all our education also is objective world only we are knowing. We have taken ourselves for granted. Whatever identity was foisted on you, you have swallowed it without any analysis. And then you are living your life, and many people die also. 99% of the people die with that identity itself. They have not even analyzed whether whatever identity I have taken on myself, is it something real? Because for that first we should understand what is real, correct? You should understand the definition of real. So our Shastra is giving a definition of real, correct? Yadrupena yen nishchitam bhavati tanna vyabhicharati, like that Bhashikara says. So once you have understood something as this, it should never go away or it can never change in any manner. It should always remain the same. That alone can be called real, or that alone can be, if you want to know what is your real nature, that real nature is something which cannot come and go, correct? It should always be there. If something is coming and going, then it's only transient. It is not intrinsic to you. So what is intrinsic to me? That is something nobody is even analyzing. Because if you analyze that, it is very easy to know that the waking individuality is not there with you all the time. But you are taking that as very real, and along with individuality, all problems come. Because once you are an individual, you are so small, correct? Everything else is so big. And then obviously you will have a problem. So, but that very individuality itself, is it true or not? If it is coming and going, because it is not there always. In dream, you are taking a totally different individuality. You may have a different body. In waking, you are a beggar. In dream, you become a king. Or in waking, you are a king. In dream, you can become a beggar. Or you may not even be a human being. I don't know how you all dream, but sometimes we don't know what identity you are taking in dream, correct? And in deep sleep, there is no individuality itself. So then how can you take this individuality as yourself? It is not intrinsic to you. It is something which is coming and going. That is the first thing you have to be clear about. So don't take this individuality very seriously. It comes, it goes. It's not really you. Anyway, so here, that's how all this upadhi, this deha, whatever, deha is there, indriya is there, manas is there, all of them are only anatma. Try to know the dehi, correct? That's why this Brahma Sutra itself is called Shariraka Mimamsa, correct? And Bhagavan also talks about the dehi nityam avadhyoyam, dehe sarvasya bharata. In fact, he makes a jump there. See, initially we think dehi means somebody who is inhabiting only this body, but then what Bhagavan says, but there is only that dehi is not, don't think that it is there only in this body, that dehi is the same. Kshetrakyam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Like that, there is no second consciousness or anything. Nobody can see or know another consciousness. There is only one consciousness. Everything is only is lighted by that consciousness alone. That consciousness alone can be called as I. So that is the one you have to know. Even though all these indriyas and mind are all functioning, it's not that don't place the I on that. Try to know the one who is being conditioned, or one who is manifest through those indriyas, or one who is manifest in the mind, etc. That's why it is saying, na vacham vijijñāsīta vaktāram vidya. Similarly, so the same thing is said in Kena Upanishad, correct? Vachoha vacham. Try to know the speaker of speech, or whatever, the speaker or the consciousness which is knowing whether you are speaking or not, or even whether which is speaking through the organ of speech. Similarly, na gandham vijijñāsīta grātāram vidya. So don't take yourself as a gandham means here both the vishaya and the indriya we have to take. Okay, grātāram means the one who is the granasya granaha. One who knows whether your nose is smelling or not. Know that consciousness. Na rupam vijijñāsīta rupa vidam vidya chakshusas chakshuhu drishtehe drashtaram. In Brihadaranyaka also it is said. The seer of the sight. So I already told you, the sight which is a phenomenon happening through your eyes is temporary. But the seer of that sight is always of the same nature. It is of the nature of consciousness alone, correct? It never stops being conscious. It is always of the same nature. That is why it is satyam. That which is always of the same nature, that which is avikriyaha, which never changes, that alone can be satyam. That is yourself. That is your nature, which is one of being and consciousness. So rupa vidam vidyat na sabdam vijijñāsīta shrotāram vidyat shrotrasya shrotram. In fact, in Kena Upanishad it starts like that. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manaha vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranaha chakshusha chakshuratimucya dhīrāha. So the same thing here. So all the Upanishads are all teaching in the same manner, you see. Of course, the same thing is said in Brihadaranyaka, and then in fact there is a Samvaada between Yajnavalkya and different Brahmanas. Okay? Then that person says, what is this? Can't you teach me this self like you show this is the cow, correct? Why can't you show me the self like that? Why are you saying Shrotrasya Shrotram, Pranasya Pranaha, and all these things? And then Yajnavalkya has to again say, see, there is no other way because only objects can be shown objectively, correct? Here we are talking about the very nature of the subject itself, which can never be objectified. So that is why this knowledge is subtle. We have to say in one way, this knowledge is different from every other knowledge which you have gained in your life. Understand that? And if you try to gain this knowledge also in the same way, you will be having problems. You will get confused or you will go in some tangent. Okay? So this Atma can never be objectified. But then Bhashyakara also raises this question and then says, but you need not objectify it. That is the beauty. Okay? Because it is self-effulgent. Swayam Jyotihi. That point that you need not objectify it has to be very clear to you. Understand that? Otherwise, what you will do, if I say this Atma is Sarvavyapi, means you imagine you are spreading everywhere. But again, there is no division. Atma is Sarvavyapi means it is to show there is a negation involved in that. Understand that? So it is like saying the rope is Sarvavyapi of snake. There is no real snake. From the standpoint of snake, we can say that. Or even when we say snake is rope, that is a Badayam Samanadhikarani. Correct? The snake itself is negated in the process. So Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma or Atma, whatever, Atma alone is there here. Like that also statements are there. So all that, what is it pointing out? That Atma alone is Satyam. Everything else is Mithya. That has to be very, very clear to you. So that is how you have to understand. So there cannot be any difference between pervaded and pervader also. You understand? If I say Atma is Sarvavyapi, don't visualize that you are spreading everywhere in space and all that. Space itself is you. Right? Then there is no question of you pervading separately as an entity in the space or anything like that. There cannot be any division of pervaded and pervader also. Experienced division also cannot be there. That's why it is Pratibodha Viditam Matam. Understand that? In Bodham Prati, in each and every cognition, it is the cognizer, it is the cognized. Cognition also, it is Atma alone. That is what one has to recognize. If you recognize that each and every cognition resolves only into Atma, correct? All the elements of a cognition always resolve into this Atma alone. And that's why we call Atma as Samadhi. Samadhiyate yasmin sarvam. Everything resolves only into this Atma. The word even Samadhi itself is used as a Lakshana for Atma. Bhashyakara gives this Vyutpatti in the Gita Bhashya. I think in the second chapter, there is a Samadha Vachala Buddhihi Tata Yogam Avapsyasi is there, correct? Like before Arjuna asked the Siddha Prajna question, so that Samadhi word comes there. There Bhagavan Bhashyakara gives that Samadhiyate Yasmin. So everything resolves into which? That is this Atma, and that has to be understood. Okay, so that is very important. It's all Jnanam. It's all only in terms of Jnanam, understand? So basically, you don't have to objectify yourself at all. In fact, every attempt to objectify yourself, you have to overcome or you have to give it up. That is part of this knowledge or this assimilation. And so basically you are giving up all wrong notions. That's all is required. And then Atma is as it is. You don't have to do anything with that. Already it is Shuddha Mukta, Nitya Buddha, Shuddha Mukta Swabhava and all we say, correct? It is already as it is. You don't have to specially do anything. In fact, you stop doing everything, then that is good enough. Okay. So here, okay, what did we see? Shrotaram Vidya, okay. Then Annarasam Vijignya, okay, sorry. Yeah. Na annarasam vijijñāsīta annarasa vijñātāram vidyāt. So with reference to taste also it is said here. Then na karma vijijñāsīta kartāram vidyāt. Na sukha dukkhe vijijñāsīta sukha dukkayoho vijñātāram vidyāt. So with reference to sukha dukkha means again the sharira and tvark and all that we can take. And then na anandam ratim prajatim vijijñāsīta anandasya ratehe prajatehe vijñātāram vidya. So with reference to the reproductive organ also the same thing is said here. And then what? Na ityam vijijñāsīta. So itya is for movement and all. Okay. Itaram vidyāt. No, yeah. Aitaram, etaram. E becomes a here when it becomes etaram. Etaram vidyāt. Na manaha vijijñāsīta mantaram vidyāt. So again, not manasaha manah. Correct. This is the mind of even the mind. Then what? Vidya, okay. Tau va eta, ta va eta, okay. Dashaiva bhuta matra adhiprajñam. So when we look at it now, whatever has been presented, from this what do we see? Like I already told you, correct? They are mutually dependent. The Indriya and Indriya Vishaya are always together, and one has, the subject has to be there for the object has to be there for the subject. So they are mutually dependent. Therefore, the same thing is said here. So there are 10 Vishayas are there, Indriya Vishayas, 5 Jnanendriya Vishaya, 5 Karmendriya Vishaya if you take. There are 10 are there. Dashaiva Bhuta Matra. Bhuta Matra here is the Indriya Vishayas. Like I said, Matra is Niyate iti Matra. They are Adhiprajñam, means what? They depend on the Prajña, on the subject. Similarly, Dasha Prajña Matra, means Prajña Matra here is that all the organs. They are all Adhibhutam, means what? They depend on the Vishaya. So the Indriyas depend on the Vishaya and Vishaya depend on the Indriya. So they are mutually dependent. So whenever there is mutual dependence, you should have a third independent entity or reality which makes the mutual dependence possible. Otherwise mutual dependency is not possible. Anyonya Ashraya is always a dosha, correct? Even when you are logically reasoning, you cannot have Anyonya Ashraya. So we say different doshas are all there. Atma Ashraya also. You cannot depend on yourself. Atma Ashraya, Anyonya Ashraya. Then Chakraka is there. Chakraka means it is not Anyonya, but third. A is dependent on B, B is dependent on C, C is dependent on A, means again you are going in circles. Okay, so your reasoning cannot go in circles. That is called Chakraka. So all these problems. So how do we get out? But Anyonya Ashraya we see, correct? It is there. Means then we have to postulate that there has to be another independent reality which makes this possible. So whatever is Anyonya Ashraya is called Madhu, as I said. And then that Madhu is there because of Brahman alone. Okay. So here, that is said here. So Adhibhutam, Prajña Matra Adhibhutam. Okay. Yadhi Bhuta Matraha na syuhu, na Prajña Matraha syuhu. So it says even explicitly, Upanishad is teaching you very compassionately. I think it is still again making it very clear by Anmaya Vyatireka. It is saying what? If the objects are not there, Bhuta Matra, sense objects are not there, na syuhu, na Prajña Matraha syuhu, Indriyas also will not be there. And similarly what? Yadva Prajña Matraha na syuhu, na Bhuta Matraha syuhu. So the mutual dependence is very clearly established here, and therefore the Prajña, Pranaha Prajñatma, which is nothing but this Brahman, That alone is the adhisthana for all these things to appear. In fact, both subject and object are only appearances because they come and go. Right? They are also transient. So the entire subject-object vyavahara, one has to understand, is really mithya. It is only an appearance, and it's not there always, and it's always changing also. That's why it is called kshanika. See, the buddhi vyavahara is kshanika. We accept that, but the buddhi stops there. That is the problem. The kshanika vijnanavadi Buddhist comes very close to Advaita in one way, because we also say consciousness is Atma, and that consciousness appears in the buddhi. The appearance of consciousness in buddhi is kshanika. That also we accept. But still you have to separate out the manifestation of consciousness in the buddhi from the Atma Chaitanyam itself, which is Swayam Jyotihi. Swatha Siddhaha, Swayam Jyotihi, all these things we say. Correct? It's self-existent, self-revealing reality, which is manifesting in the buddhi upadhi, but they take the buddhi with upadhi itself as the consciousness, and they say that is kshanika, and therefore there is no Atma. They end up with no Atma. That is their thing. So that's where we differ actually. So anyway, here all these things beautifully the Upanishad has taught us. Now what? Finally, okay, this is the last vakya, very good. So finally what the Upanishad is saying, nahi anyatarataha rupam kinchana siddhe na eta na etan nana. So this also it makes it very clear. So the nana is not there, it is saying, correct? So there is no nana, many things. Don't think that all these things are all, there are 10 organs, 10 vishayas, etc. All these things are not separate from this. They are tadatmya with the prana or prajnatma alone. They don't exist separately. Okay? So they don't have any rupa. They are all. They don't have any reality. That is what basically said here. Nahi anyatarataha rupam kinchana siddhe na etan nana. And to make you understand this, now Upanishad is giving you again an analogy or a metaphor. What is that? Tad yatha ratasya areshu nemihi arpita. Okay, the rim is there, correct? That is the external circumference. But then the rim is connected to rim cannot be there function by itself, correct? Unless it is connected to the spokes, the wheel will not work. So Arasya, Areshu, Nemihi. So Nemi is the rim. And now it is connected to or it is fixed to the spokes. Okay. So Nemihi, Areshu Arpita. And then what? Nabhav Ara Arpita. But spokes also cannot be hanging. It has to go to the Nabhi, correct? Or the hub. So hub and spoke model we say, even in IT we use that for communication and all that, correct? Like that, because if everybody is communicating with everybody else, the number of communication channels will be too many. So we normally have one hub. So everybody has to communicate only to one. And from there then it will distribute it to others, means it is easier. That is a different concept. But here this analogy is given to show that the Vishaya first we take, correct? Vishayas are like the Nemi. They are all connected to the spokes which are the Indriya. But Indriya themselves are not independent. They have to rest on the Nabhi, and the beauty is the Nabhi being the center point, it doesn't move or anything, correct? All the activity is only on the circumference and on the spoke. But the Nabhi itself is Kutastaha, correct? It is there without any activity. It is just there. That means in its presence alone, all these activities are happening. Sannidhi matrena. That means that's why Chaitanya itself is Nishkriyaha, Nirguna. In the Nirguna Vastu, all the Saguna Vastu are all Adhyaropita or Adhyasika Sambandha alone is possible, we say. Otherwise, logically, you can never establish that Guna is there. See, if you say there is a quality, correct? So, how do we argue? It's a very simple argument, it's not a big deal. Vedanta says, if you say quality is there, where is this quality? It is already there in an entity which is having qualities or which does not have quality. The Dvaitin, Vishishtaadvaitin and all, they don't accept a Nirguna Vastu itself. Understand that? They say that there is no Nirguna Vastu at all. And there is no Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. There is no Jnanam which can reveal an entity which doesn't have any quality. So there is no Nirguna Vastu, there is no entity and there is no possibility of knowledge of that entity also. So there is no Nirguna Vastu, there is no Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. Then we ask, okay, you are saying all Vastus are Saguna. Then this Guna, where does it reside? Is it already residing in a Saguna Vastu or is it in a Nirguna Vastu? No, he cannot say Nirguna because he doesn't accept Nirguna itself. And even if and they will say that if Guna is there in Nirguna Vastu, it is a contradiction, correct? Vyaghata dosha, they will say. Okay, Vyaghata, leave it that. Then you have to say that it is there in only a Saguna Vastu. Then if it is there in a Saguna Vastu, which Guna made that Vastu Saguna then? Because that entity is already having quality, or saying quality is residing in an entity which is having quality. Now what is that quality? Where is it residing? Means again he has to say only another Vastu which is having quality, means that is called again one more dosha is what? This is called Anavastha, correct? This is infinite regress. Either he will go into infinite regress or he has to say that, in fact they basically say some kind of Anyonya Ashraya. They say the Saguna Vastu is made as Saguna by the Guna itself, and we also ask whether Guna itself is Saguna or not. This is another question. You say there is Guna. This Guna is Saguna or Nirguna? Means that also they cannot say. He cannot say Guna is Nirguna, means he will say it is contradictory. So he says Guna is made Saguna by the whatever the Dravya which is there, correct? The substance or entity, and substance itself is made Saguna by the Guna, like that. They are only talking about an Anyonya Ashraya. Or even if they extend it to one more thing, it will become Chakraka and all that. You understand? Or they have Atma Ashraya only. Because the other entity is, it is whatever. That Guna, it is there in itself or something like that. If you say also, it is a problem for them. So basically, you cannot establish the Sagunatvam at all. Because whatever you say, it is the reasoning, it becomes unreasonable. Okay. So that's why the Vedanta says, of course, Guna being in Nirguna is Vyaghata, but how do we resolve that contradiction? Means it is Adhyasika. The only Sambandha you can really talk about is Adhyasika Sambandha. Because even the Nayayika finally accepts that. He says, see, you keep, because this Guna, Guni itself is a Vikalpa, correct? It is a separation or a division. Now, even logically you go up to the level of Paramanu. Paramanu cannot be further broken down. Paramanu is the smallest quantum, correct? Even in science also we have this idea of quantum. Energy is in quantum, they say, correct? What does it really mean? Means you cannot further break it down. Understand that? You can keep on breaking, like centimeter, millimeter, nanometer, whatever. But at some point in time, you have to stop. Means further division is not possible. So the Nayayika actually says Paramanu is actually cannot have a Guna. Paramanu is Nirguna. In the Nirguna Paramanu only, then when it becomes Dhyanu, Tranu and all, he says somehow Guna comes. And then it becomes a Prithvi Paramanu or a Prithvi Dhyanu, Tranu and all that. Prithvi Anu it becomes. Or whatever, each Bhuta has its own Paramanu and all they talk about. But the Paramanu itself is, or the Guna itself is Nirguna really. Because whatever is a Swarupa is not a Guna, understand that? That is what we say. whatever is its very nature is not considered as a quality. Because quality means quality and qualified, like that there is a division is there. Where that division is not there, it can still be a Swarupa. That's why the Aushniyam, Agneha Aushniyam is its Swarupa, we say. There is no Dharma Dharmi Bhava. The Dharma itself is Dharmi there, understand that? Okay? So that is why even here we talked briefly about that. I don't know whether you noticed. We said Ayuhu, Prana is Ayuhu, Ayuhu is Prana, means they are not like a Gunaguni, Bhava is not there, I told you. So like that, this is an important point we have to understand. So everything can make sense only if you accept that this particular Nirguna Vastu, in that only everything is superimposed. Your very individuality is really only an appearance. Understand that? Everything is only an appearance. It doesn't have a reality of its own. So there is no Nana or anything. All these things are only appearing in the Atma Chaitanya. It's all only an appearance. And like this, that all these things are, they are all like the beggar is actor, correct? Like that, the Chaitanya means, don't think Chaitanya is only there in your body. That's why in our theory of knowledge we say there is a Vishaya Chaitanyam is there. Vishaya also is Chaitanyam. Chaitanya which is manifesting in the object of knowledge. That is the Vishaya Chaitanya. Then there is a Pramatra Chaitanya, means you are taking yourself as a knower, correct? That means the Chaitanya which is manifesting in your buddhi as a whole, the Antakarana is called Pramatra Chaitanya. Then when does knowledge take place? When the mind goes out and takes the form of the object, we say knowledge takes place. That mind going out through the Indriya and taking the form is called the Manovritti. Because it is a state of mind, correct? The mind changes its state and takes the form of the object. It goes through the Indriya and takes the form of the object. That portion of the mind which takes the form of the object is called Pramana Chaitanya. So all are Chaitanya only. Chaitanya is manifesting everywhere. But it is manifesting in the form of this Triputi. It is all only Chaitanya alone is there. There is nothing is separate from Chaitanya. That's why even here, how it was shown, from the Prajna, the Indriya is an Anga. And from the Indriya, you separate out the Vishaya like that. And again the Vishaya is grasped by the Indriya, which is again resolving only into the Prajna. Correct? So our model of teaching is always complete. It covers everything so that it doesn't leave out anything. Understand that? The teaching is always complete that way. So this Nemi, Ara and Nabhi, this analogy is given here. So evam eva eta bhuta matraha prajna matraha swarpitaha. Then prajna matraha prane arpitaha. So, see, in fact, it should be prajna matrasu arpitaha. This fellow is always putting all mistakes here. Even I was confused. What is that? So the bhutas are resolving into the indriya, and then indriyas are into the prajna or prana. Here, prana itself, the prana which is prajnatma, prane arpitaha, yesha prana eva prajnatma, and this prana is nothing but, again, it's not separate from the intelligence or consciousness, and that itself is ananda. See, the ananda is come here, prajnatma anandaha. Because Ananda alone is Purushartha, understand that finally. Even though I keep saying that you are consciousness and all that, then you will say, wow, what is the big deal? So Ananda has to come always. Why? Because like I said, everybody is seeking only Ananda. But that Ananda, how do you get the Ananda? Ananda is neither a Dravya nor a Guna, understand that? If it is a substance, you can go to market and buy, right? 1 kilo Ananda you give it today, or 1 liter you give, whatever, some unit of Ananda you can buy, but you cannot buy like that. So you say Ananda is not a substance, everybody agrees, correct? Okay, is it a Guna then? Because I buy a car, I am very happy, I got a brand new car, all nice. Okay, so that means Ananda has to be a quality of that car. That's why you buy the car and you feel you have Ananda. But then that Ananda, if it is having the quality really of Ananda is there in the car, etc., it should be Ananda for everybody, right? Or your neighbor buys a new car, means you have no Ananda. You are only looking at it. Neighbors envy, owner's pride. Only it becomes correct. So I think you all would have seen that ad, I think, correct? Yeah. That was a very good ad. Yeah. So that is what is happening. Or even for you, somebody, one scratch is good enough to spoil all Ananda. Means that Ananda quality is gone from the car. As soon as one scratch comes, it's only dukkha. Or maintaining it is a dukkha. Or you think about all the money you have spent to get that. You go and buy a car now, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, forget I could have done so many other things. Until the time you buy, it is fine. Then you buy, there is a cognitive dissonance. Why did I buy? Buyer's remorse, they call it. Okay? So buyer's remorse can come. So all these things, so Ananda is neither a guna nor a dravya. Then what is it? Yeah, the entire world is nothing but dravya and guna. You can divide the world into substance and qualities. There is nothing else in the world. So if it is neither dravya nor guna, then it has to be only one thing. The entire objective world is gone, means it has to be only the nature of the subject. Understand it? This way also you can arrive at it. The other way we say is what? Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Everything you love, but that love is always conditional. Okay, as long as it invokes a pleasing you, you love it. If it is no more invoking the pleased you in you, then you allow it. Pujya Swamiji will say, first you love, then you allow it. Allow it to go, that's it. Like that. That means, if everything is conditionally loved, only one thing is unconditionally loved, which is yourself. And whatever is unconditionally loved has to be the source of Ananda, really. Nothing else can be the source of Ananda. So your own Swarupa Ananda is what we are talking here. And this Ananda is not an experiential Ananda, understand that. Right? That is why Swamiji used to say, when you suspend the notion that I am a wanting being, whatever is there is your Ananda. And that is what is in sleep also, correct? In sleep there is no duality itself. There is nothing else you are cognizing. You are there as you are. And that itself is the greatest Ananda, right? You cannot compare it with anything else. That is your Swaswarupa, Avasthanam we say, right? In your own nature when you rest. There is no other better Ananda, greater Ananda than that. And that is the Ananda it is talking here. That Prajnatma itself is Ananda. There is no separate Ananda or anything. But all these separate words are also not like a quality in Atma. Understand that. These are all only words which are pointing to the very Swarupa of your Atma. So Atma is Ananda Swarupaha, Jnana Swarupaha. That's what we have to understand. And because of that itself it is Ajaraha. Ajaraha, why it is Ajaraha? Because it is Abhikriyaha. It cannot change. That is said by the Nabi also. Correct? The Nabi also points to the point that Atma is unchanging. Even though all these things are so much activities happening in its presence, it's like a magnet which is simply sitting there. The iron filings can go round and round. Okay? Like that, it is Atma, Anidhi Matrena, it is there. It is Ajaraha, means it cannot change. It is Shadbhava Vikara Rahitaha, now we have to take. Amritaha, again it is free from time. It's not like Atma is there for a long time and all that. It transcends the very idea of time. In fact, time itself cannot be defined. Correct? Swamiji used to say that if I ask you what is now, you cannot say. Why? Because what is it? It is picosecond, nanosecond, whatever, you can keep on going. Finally, it has resolved into consciousness itself. Correct? There is nothing else. So, that is the Maya again. Time itself is Maya only. You cannot define now itself. If you cannot define now, you cannot define past and future also. Understand that? So everything is only basically a adhyasika only again. It's all only an appearance. But if you get caught in the appearance, means then you are mudaha, sammohaha is there. You are deluded. That is the problem. So amritaha. And again what? Na sadhuna, karmana, bhuya. So originally Indra said, whatever I did, even one hair does not, it was not harmed or whatever, correct? So like that, so the same thing again Shruti is pointing out. By doing punya karma, I think already Atma is Purna. Purna madaha, Purna vidam. Purna, Purna udachyate. So from the Purna only this entire world which is Purna has come. Already Atma is Purna. From the Purna Atma, the Purna world has come. And again, if you remove the Purna world also, Purna Atma alone remains. Purna meva avashishyate. It doesn't, the clay is not added with something, like when the pot appears, it's not that something has added to the clay. Clay's clayness remains the same. Correct? The gold became a bangle. Anything was added to the gold or what? Gold is gold only. If you still go to the, in fact they may Sedaram they will remove, I think. If you go back, you only lose. You are not adding anything. Although you pay more money, the pawnbroker is a jnani, correct? Or in the form, name and form doesn't matter. You may have an attachment with your bangle. This is my grandmother's bangle or mother's bangle and all that. But he is only going by the weight. Gold alone is matters. That is the jnana drishti, correct? They have very good jnana drishti there. So, like that, no karma can increase it or anything. Or even if you do bad karma or whatever, correct? Sadhuna karma, karmana bhuyat, na bhuyat, okay? Again, navu eva asadhuna karmana kaniya. So it doesn't become lesser because of some asadhu karma or not good karma. And further what? But still, those who have dehatma, this moha, the deha itself is the atma, correct? The atma buddhi in the deha, those for them what? This same atma only makes them do, whether it is sadhu karma or asadhu karma. So it says, so yesha hyeva yenam sadhu karma karayati. So in one way, from the standpoint of the karta, if you take, you have to say atma only makes him do, whether it is sadhu karma or asadhu karma. But from its own standpoint, if you see, so it is like saying, the sun lightened my home, the sun rose, and then it brightened the entire world here, correct, during the day. But if you go and ask the sun, it will say, I never rose anywhere, or I did not brighten anything and all. These are all only, you are only imputing an agency to sun, where there is no real agency, correct? Because its very nature is to be bright, it's not doing anything, understand that. This point actually Bhashyakara brings up. When we say Atma is shining, is Atma doing an action or not? There is a Purva Paksha in the Vridarnika Bhashya, he says. Then he says, some birds, although it may look like that you are doing something, but really you are not doing something, and he gives the example of sun only. He says, you can say sun is shining, sun is making my room, it is brightening up and all that. But really speaking, sun does not do anything. In fact, it's bright. You can say that also if its brightness is not there sometime, and then it becomes bright afterwards, and so it is brightening up your room or anything. But sun is always bright. That is its very nature. It did not lose its brightness, and again it got its brightness, and so it brightened up your place or anything like that. Nobody can say that. So whatever you are saying is you are simply imputing a kartritvam where there is no real kartritvam. So like that, sadhu karma, asadhu karma and all, but still for the one who has ajnanam, means for that we have to still say only the atma alone is the adhisthana for all action also. So it is karayati, but it does not do or anything. In fact, na hanyate hanyamane sharire, and even in the Gita, Bhagavan says, it is not a karta, na kareta. Okay, that is very clear. So, similarly what? Naeva sadhuna karma. Okay. Sadhu karma kareti tam yam anu anvanu anvanu neshayati neshati. Okay. Anvanu neshati means he says yam anu means it wants to bring near the Atma, he is saying. The commentator here, the anu which is there here, anvanu neshati. Nuneshati means to take it near or whatever, knee basically. So the anu here is that for one who has to be uthapayati and we say, right? To bring somebody up. Means for them the Atma only makes them do sadhu karma, because by punya only again you come to all this Atma Jnanam and all that, correct? So the one who has to come near the Atma or the Swarupa of the Atma, for them it rises them up, you can say. But for others what? Yesha eva yenam asadu karma karayati tam imebhyaha lokebhyaha nunutsata. So the ones who it wants to send them to Naraka and all those lokas, correct? Different lokas, then it makes them do asadu karma. Means those who are only ahankara, they think the ahankara itself is aham, correct? Not the Atma. For them, then they all do asadu karma. All asadu karma why you do? Because of raga, dvesha and ahankara. No other reason. So they all go to the adho loka, we have to say. Therefore what? And even the karma phala makes them do. And what about the karma phala? Due to karma phala only either you go to Swarga or Naraka and all that. And that also the karma dheksha. That also is this Ishvara only. Jagat Karanam Brahma is Lokapalaha, the one who protects all the loka, means the loka itself is different lokas are there for what purpose? For you to have different experiences so that you can exhaust your karma. That is how the loka srishti itself is looked upon. Therefore, this Atma, don't think that this Atma is some limited being entrenched in one body. It is the Lokapala. It is the one which is protecting all the world. Yesha Lokadhipati here. He is the Lord of all the lokas. Entire srishti. Therefore, it is Sarveshwaraha. It is the Sarveshwara. Because initially he said Mam Vijani. That Mam is really Sarveshwaraha. So he is showing that, in fact, even in the Brahma Sutra also, this also is quoted. Bhashyakara says, this is the Mam which is being talked there. That is what we say that Shastra Drishti. The Mam there is Shastra Drishti. Correct. So that Sarveshwaraha Same Atma iti, he says again, that is my Atma. Whatever I said as Mam there, that is this only, this Sarveshwara. And Atma iti Vidya, may you know. Again he repeats it. Same Atmeti Vidya. So if he repeats that, what do you understand? This chapter is over. You know, we'll go to, in the next class, we'll go to the next chapter. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti